Hello, hello. We are back with another One Piece chapter review. This time it's chapter 1119, titled Emeth. That's a new word, so I'm wondering what that means. I guess we'll find out during the chapter. Got the cover story, Only Child Yamato, The Holy and Iron Shrine Pilgrimage, Volume 9, Kibi getting stoned by kids who resent Kaido. So that's interesting. In Kibi, you've got some angry kid throwing stones at Yamato because she resembles Kaido. So that shows that there is still a lot of anger and resentment in Wano country towards Kaido, and we can assume by extension that includes the Orochi clan, or the Koizumi clan. So there has been a bit of debate in the community about how the Orochi clan surviving members, specifically Tama, would be treated by Wano, the people of Wano, knowing that she is of the same clan as Orochi, because in the past there was prejudice towards the Orochi clan. Whether it was earned or not kind of doesn't matter at this point, because the people that they should be angry at from the Orochi clan are all dead. All that's left are survivors that are unrelated to the actions of their relatives. And we saw from the flashbacks of Orochi himself that there is a resentment in Wano towards the Orochi clan members on site. And so far in the story, it seems that nothing has been done to resolve that. Maybe through Yamato's quest here, she can sort of start to mend those wounds and show that just because someone is related to someone that did something bad doesn't necessarily mean that they are bad people themselves and should be hated, even if they haven't done anything. So maybe Yamato's quest will get at that issue, or maybe that's something that won't necessarily be addressed. Notes from Oda. I got shown Luffy on the Las Vegas Sphere. Hopefully someday I'll see it with my own eyes. It's very cool. Okay, Punk Records. Words that shroud the truth. Go, Stussy. You knew this would be my response, right? Friends, don't make me laugh. I did respect you. You're a relentless associate. But nothing will sway Lucci when he comes back. And now Stussy's starting to cry. Kaku, I leave. So this scene is interesting. It's Kaku talking to Stussy, telling her to leave because she has betrayed Cypherpole, so when Lucci comes back, he's definitely going to try to kill her, probably. At least that's what Kaku's thinking, so he's telling her to get away. Stussy wants to stay because she's developed an attachment to the Cypherpole. She wants to stay with them, and she really has nowhere else to go because she's a clone made by Vegapunk, so there's nowhere else for her to go back to. Okay, next page. We got Luffy and Bonnie. Yeah, ha ha ha, this is gonna be a blast. That Straw Hat's face. It's just like his brownie poster. Nika! We got all the giants cheering for Nika. Two Nikas? I see. She made a facsimile with her age powers. Don't get ahead of yourselves. Guys, nothing hurts these things, even if they're sliced up or cursed. Okay, so Mars on the spot sees and analyzes that Bonnie made a facsimile of Gear 5th with her age powers. Then he sends out a blast. Luffy warns everyone that nothing hurts the Gorosei. Guys, nothing hurts these things, even if they're sliced up and fresh. That's why I want you to, yeah! And Luffy gets hit by Mars's flame. Luffy is blown up like a ball. Give it your all and hurl me at him full force. So all we can do is throw you straight at it. So Sanji, give it our all, huh? You asked for it, says Frankie. We're gonna attack Luffy? Why? Says Bonnie. Now here's Dory. We'll leave the bird to you guys then. Stop dancing, you fools. Put out the fire and set sail. What? But you two were doing it earlier, Captain. Okay, now Luffy stretches out his arms and grabs onto both of Mars's wings. Hurry while I've got a hold of it. Captain's orders are absolute, Bonnie-chan. Ifrit Jambe. Strong, impactful, strong. Alright then. Giant, Nika. Memories, right. Punch. So all three of them do a combo attack on Luffy. Sanji does his Ifrit Jambe Hell Memories. Frankie does his impactful strong right. And then Bonnie does a giant Nika punch. And all three attacks land on Luffy's back, pushing him towards Mars. Ouch, that hurts. Huh? It hurts. And Bonnie has a shocked reaction. She has that shocked eyes popping out of her head and tongue sticking out face. Ah! Luffy screaming because it hurts. Of course it does. You guys are using hockey. Now, gum. Don't let up, Bonnie-chan. Keep going till you crush the life out of him. What's wrong with you guys? And Bonnie's still freaking out as Frankie and Sanji are continuing the attack. Booming Dawn Balloon. So Luffy uses the force of the attacks from behind to help add force to his Booming Dawn Balloon. And he expands and repels Mars super far away. It's being blasted away by the force. Alright, it's gone. It won't be back anytime soon. Let's get going, guys. Yeah. What about Usopp and the others? They were meant to fly down and meet us here, but they're late. I'll go check. Says Atlas. Atlas-chan. York is monitoring us. We're with Willow. And now we're back to the giant underwater. Nothing. Of the sorts. That's why. So another second of Vegapunk's message. Nothing of the sorts. That's why. Whole Cake Island. So we've got Katakuri looking on at the message. It's still fizzling out. Looks like Katakuri has got his scarf back on. Of course, it's the back, so we can't see Katakuri from the front. Huh? Whoa. That ceaselessly inherited aspect. It's on again. Oh, wait. So it's not fizzling out. The broadcast seems to be restarting. Well, not restarting, but picking up where it left off, starting to broadcast again a little bit. It's on again. What is he talking about? We can call it a will. It's on. It's back on. Was it a bad signal? Fizz. So on Whole Cake Island they're reacting. Vivi and Morgan's are reacting as it's coming back on. And now here's York panicking. Elders, you just interrupted the transmission. The snail's memory circuit is still intact. You have to destroy it directly if you want to shut it down for good. And to those that have suffered for this, I can only pray my voice reaches you. And we have a shot of Gaimon, and he's with a lady that's stuck in a barrel. Huh? What the? Says Luffy. Is this rain? Was that an explosion? No. It's the Cypherpole agents and a bunch of debris. They're falling out of the sky. Catch them, they'll die. The Seraphim are here too. Look, old timers, that monster's spitting them out. Ha 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 ha, it's like a fountain. It's coming for us. We gotta hurry and get some distance. So now we've got Shepard. He's emerged from the ground and apparently he spit out all the Cypherpole agents and the Seraphim that he swallowed earlier. Now he's looking at the ship glare. It's gonna suck us in, move it! Damn it, after all the progress we've made, he's pulling us back. Furl the sails, use the oars instead. You bastard! And Luffy does a big punch on Shepard. Knocks him, and it stops him from vacuuming the ship in. Get him, Nika! The giants are cheering. A giant white monster and raining Cypherpole agents. Even dreams aren't this wild, says Commander Dahl. Dahl is looking on. There's Topman. Damn it. Boris heading right for you guys. Look out. His skin is really tough. It's gonna smash the ship. You gotta run. Topman is charging in on the ship. Bonnie has reverted to her child form after activating Gear 5. So, as I expected in the last chapter, she can only hold it for a second because it's so exhausting to maintain that state. And it looks like instead of experiencing the total draining that Luffy does after he activates Gear 5th, she is just knocked out and in her child form. Joy Boy. Luffy hears a voice. Listen up, Emmet. The time is at hand. And then we get a shot of the giant rising up out of the water and punching Topman. It's a good strong punch. It breaks one of his tusks. The time? What the hell is that? Robot! Says Luffy with sparkles in his eyes. The romance lives on. And Dory and Brogy have their eyes popping out as they say, what the hell is that? So it looks like yeah. So Emeth is the robot's name, the Iron Giant's name apparently. Because he's having memories. Remembering words that Joy Boy told him. Joy Boy, listen up, Emeth. The time is at hand. The time? Romance lives on. The romance lives on. So, Emmet, I'm wondering if there's any special meaning to that name. At first glance, it doesn't seem that there's any particular meaning to it. And this is our final confirmation that yes, the Iron Giant knew Joy Boy. Joy Boy told the giant, gave the giant a mission to carry out. And since these, I believe these words are the robot remembering, because it can't be Joy Boy speaking to Emeth currently, in current time. So in the past, before Joy Boy's death, he must have given Emeth a mission related to passing on the perhaps the ideologies and spirit of the ancient kingdom. And so we have confirmation that Vegapunk's message is not over. It's picking up again. Now the question is, will it pick up and drop that information about the Willie D, or will that entire segment be skipped over because of the interference? And now it's going to pick up, Vegapunk's broadcast is going to pick up and explain more about ancient past? Or will the Gorosei all turn their forces once again, to trying to stop the broadcast? Because it could still reveal stuff that they want hidden at this point. So let's see if we can pick up what the message was saying. Nothing of the sorts. That's why. That ceaselessly inherited aspect. We can call it a will. And to those that have suffered for this, I can only pray my voice reaches you. So Vegapunk seems to be speaking about the will of D, that ceaselessly inherited aspect. We can call it a will. So he's talking about the will of D. But to those that have suffered for this, I can only pray my voice reaches you. Suffered for what? Suffered for or Vegapunk's actions? Is he talking about his actions now? Or is he still talking about the will of D? Is he talking about those that have suffered for the war between the ancient kingdom and the world government that's still going on today? Is that who he's talking about? But there's still... So hopefully next chapter, which we are going on break next week, so it'll be a 2-week gap. Hopefully next chapter we will get more of Vegapunk's message, and it can add a little bit more context to what we're getting, because right now we're getting just little bits and pieces of the message. If we can get a full paragraph or two out, that will add some context, and we can probably figure some things out about... It might give us some context clues that we can put together about the will of D. And now we kind of get a sense of what Shepard's ability is. It seems to be mostly it's burrowing, and then he has this super vacuum ability. He sucks things in and spits them out. So that's a way to add a little bit more agency and threat to what is basically a giant worm. So Shepard's not totally harmless and useless in this situation. They're still having some issue, not too much issue, but a little bit of issue repelling the elders. They have to repel all 5 of them since they're all charging in, basically. If we're keeping things as they appeared, Zoro has repelled Ethan, and now Luffy, Sanji, Frankie, and Bonnie have repelled Mars. War Fury is still there. Topman, Shepard, still there. Emmett's punch didn't look like a knockout blow, but maybe it was. If Emmett's punch is a knockout blow, then that means Topman is down. Luffy's blow on Shepard didn't look like a knockout blow, but maybe it was. Probably not, since the Gorosei are immortal, essentially. So the goal here is to delay them and or repel them far enough away that the ships can safely depart and get away from the island. So that's the goal they're aiming for. Now Emmett is here, and we know from before that the world government, or the Gorosei, dropped what they were doing and turned their full force onto Emmett when they saw him the first time. So now that Emmett has risen up again and is fully activated, it seems, attacking Gorosei, I think they're going to turn their full focus onto Emmett again, but the problem is they have 2 goals here now. They have to stop the broadcast again to make sure it's stopped for good, and they have to stop Emmett. So I think that with those two goals emerging, Gorosei are going to have to once again take their focus off the Straw Hats, focus on destroying Emmett, or deactivating it, going back and destroying that transponder snail completely, or I suppose York could try to find it, but yeah. So that goal has emerged. That's going to be good for the Straw Hats, but they're escaping. Still haven't seen anything from the Usopp, Nami, Chopper, and Robin faction of the Straw Hats. And Brook is there too. Jinbei and Zoro. So the majority of Straw Hats are there. We haven't seen them. They're supposed to fall from the sky, but they're late. Why are they late at this point? Is Ethan still delaying them up there? Could that be the case? And now it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Stussy, because maybe Lucci has had a change of heart. We know that at least he doesn't want Kaku to be killed. It might be that Lucci doesn't want any of Cyberpol to be killed. That might include Stussy. Even if Stussy did betray them. So maybe Lucci will have a change of heart regarding Stussy. It's, I won't say 50-50, but it's a possibility. And if that's not the case, then Stussy would have to go with the Straw Hats. She would have no other option, because the world government would want to destroy her, kill her, because she betrayed them. She worked for Vegapunk previously, so she could stay with the last few remaining Stellas. That's possible. And we know that Bonnie's fruit activation, when she activates a hypothetical power that is something as big as Gear 5th, that she does face a drawback. So the fruit is still pretty broken, but not... It's... Or perhaps I should say it's overpowered, but not broken. I'm trying to think on a scale compared to Law's fruit, which is one of the most broken devil fruits we've seen so far in the story. I would say it's not quite, quite as broken as Law's fruit, but close. But it does have drawbacks. So, and also the Cyberpol agents and Seraphim falling out of the sky, that's a little bit of a distraction to the Navy ships because they're catching the falling agents, so that distracts the Navy a little bit, so they can't focus on attacking the Straw Hats as they escape. So it's leading up to... Now I have a question here. Could we go into a flashback from Emmett's perspective? Is that what we're leading into? That is a question. Do we want to do that? Because an Emmet flashback would be a Joy Boy flashback. So would they give us a Joy Boy flashback here? Earlier, when Vegapunk mentioned Joy Boy being the first pirate, I had assumed then that it was possible we were going into a Joy Boy flashback. Could we get a Joy Boy flashback here at the end of the arc? But kind of seems like things are too hectic and frantic right now to go into a flashback. This would be a flashback right in the middle of the battle. And the Joy Boy flashback would have to be a long flashback. It would have to be, I'm assuming, an Odin-sized flashback. We're going to get the full story of Joy Boy. So probably not here in the middle of a battle. So Emeth is probably going to take action here. I don't think Emeth can be destroyed so far. Because if it could have been destroyed, the world government would have destroyed it. But also there's research value to keeping it around. So it's possible they never really tried to destroy it. They've only tried to keep it deactivated so it could be studied and technology reverse engineered. So there's a question there about whether they are wanting to destroy it or not. If they can't destroy it, then that creates a bit of a stalemate there. The Gorosei can't destroy the Iron Giant, and the Iron Giant can't kill the Gorosei, so all they can do is worry about deactivating each other, basically. Time is at hand. Now, what is the time? The time is at hand. Is this time the time that Pedro spoke about? The dawn? Or is this the time is at hand, the time? Did Joy Boy predict that? Okay. So, Nika existed a long time ago. Like, primordial time, basically. Worshipped as a god, worshipped in Elbaf. Known around the world, known by the Buccaneers, which are half giant race. They and probably giants that don't live on Elbaf, giants that left Elbaf and traveled around the world, may have helped to spread the word of Nika to others. There might even have been people that, well, not people that witnessed, but other tribes that witnessed Nika during the time of Nika and passed that tale down. So it might not just specifically be an Elbaf legend. It's a legend that started in Elbaf, but has spread around the world, sort of thing. So Joy Boy fought with a rubbery body like Nika. Joy Boy must have known that his powers that his powers are similar to Nika, meaning Nika's powers are passed down somehow. Joy Boy, knowing this, must also know that eventually the Nika power that he has will be passed down to the future as well. So he's preparing for that. Preparing for the arrival of another warrior that fights like Nika the way he did. Now, is that just for the power itself, or is there something else, a goal that this power is trying to attain? And at the right time, far into the future, perhaps Nika, or perhaps Joy Boy, came to a similar conclusion that Roger did, that we were too soon, that we are too soon. It's not the time yet. And so Nika, in preparation for that time, or Joy Boy, in preparation for that time, told Emeth and perhaps Zoe as well, that they must wait for this time when the warrior who fights like Joy Boy and Nika shows up, and at that time it will be the right time. Of course, for Joy Boy's sake, in Joy Boy's case, it will be 900 years into the future. And then for Roger, it was like 20 some years into the future. Okay. That does seem to line up. But the question is what? Because they're not just protecting the power for the power's sake. There's something that it achieves, something that it does, something that it's supposed to do. And that is the ultimate goal. That the Nika Fruit Awakening is indicating that it is almost time for something, some event that the awakened Nika Fruit will cause, bring about, activate. And that also fits in with the theme of the Will of D being passed down, which is, it also parallels what Vegapunk has been trying to tell the world through his message. The part that was cut off about the Will of D. Among you there is a. And from Vegapunk's message, I believe he was talking about a person. And the language is among you there is a, as in among the currently living D-Clan members versus the D-Clan that have already passed away. So among you there is a. Or is it a collective reference to all the D-Clan that have existed throughout history? Even though I believe before Vegapunk spoke about the D-Clan, he was talking about those of you currently alive today, roaming about, scattered about the world. Those of you of the D-Clan. So yeah, currently living D-Clan. Among you there is a. And then this continued message here. Something about inherited will. And the problem is that because the philosophies among the D-Clan are so spread out, specifically when you look at probably the two most important members in the story would be Luffy and Blackbeard. They have differing ideals. They have similar ideals in the aspect of freedom and faith, and even though I would say that Blackbeard is a bit more fatalistic than Luffy is, I would say that Luffy believes more in dreams, and if you dream something, then you are destined to achieve it. Which is, I think, something that Blackbeard agrees with, but Blackbeard also seems to have this element of fate, that a deterministic fate where if your fates cross, or some fates are destined to cross, it's hard to kind of put into words. But Blackbeard believes more in a an inescapable fate is probably the best way to say it. Some people are just fated to die or to not attain their dreams. Some are fated to not be powerful. Some are fated to be ruled over, and then others are fated to be the rulers. Something like that. Whereas Luffy believes that nothing is impossible. That if you have a dream and you're in pursuit of it, then it's your fate to achieve that dream. If you stick to it and keep fighting no matter what, then you will achieve that dream. So with that difference, that means, I'm wondering if that means there are differences in the D-Clan period, because we can assume that Zebek had a similar philosophy, that Blackbeard took his philosophy from Zebek, and Luffy's philosophy mirrors that of Rogers. So the question is, does that go all the way back through the D-Clan? Has there always been this light and darkness in the D-Clan going all the way back to ancient times? And is that the will that Vegapunk is referring to? Is Vegapunk referring to, among you there is, for example, let's say his message was, okay, to D-Clan, all of you spread out among the sea. Among you there is a darkness, a dark will. That will has extended just as far back as the regular strong will of the D-Clan. And this will has been passed down. It is alive and well in the current era, and you must watch out for it. Because it is every bit as dangerous to the state of the world as the light will of D, but the dark will of D is more destructive, it's more threatening to the state of the world. Is that the case? Or is this just an example of the D-Clan being so varied that there are multiple limitless philosophies among them? That could be the case. But the problem with that is we haven't seen any examples beyond that. We've seen Luffy to Roger, Blackbeard to Zebek. We haven't seen any third options, or trying to think here. I mean, there's Dragon, but Dragon's goal is to overthrow the world government. So Dragon's goal seems closest to that of the Ancient Kingdom, because the Ancient Kingdom were at war with the Alliance that became the world government. The revolutionaries are at war with the world government. So, would it be safe to say that Dragon has inherited the will of the Ancient Kingdom? If we connect the Ancient Kingdom to the D-Clan specifically, which that connection has been made explicitly yet. It has kind of a little bit been implied, but it hasn't been stated explicitly. But if we assume that the Ancient Kingdom is connected to the D-Clan is from the Ancient Kingdom, then we would say that Dragon has inherited the will of the Ancient Kingdom because he is carrying on the Ancient Kingdom's battle against the Alliance that became the world government. So Dragon would be the will of the ancient kingdom. Luffy is the will of Joy Boy. He's the will of Joy Boy, which is not necessarily aligned with the will of the ancient kingdom. And then Blackbeard is the will of Zebek. And we have to wonder, is there something for Zebek? Because if it's truly inherited, then there had to have been a Zebek-like figure, or the beginnings of a Zebek-like figure, even 900 years ago during Joy Boy's time, right? If we're taking that line of thinking, or is it that at some point in history during the 900 years, there was a corruption and some members of the D-Clan started leading into this darkness? So it's a recent emergence and it wasn't around 900 years ago? That could be the case, but we haven't seen any examples as so far in the story of members of the D family having corruptible wills. Their wills are very strong, indomitable. They fully believe in themselves, and they believe in what they believe. And their wills are not corruptible. Haven't seen a corruptible. They're not. They're not ones to be influenced by others. So it's a hard argument to make that at any point members of the D-Clan would have been corrupted. What had to have been an idea they decided, something they decided for themselves and went on with. So is that a possibility? I mean, seems like it would be a possibility, but it also seems like it wouldn't. So that's kind of hard to pinpoint. But that's its theory there. If Dragon is the will of the ancient kingdom, then that creates an opening that there could be multiple wills, that there could be as many different wills, factors driving D-Clan as there are people, the D-Clan. Everyone has their own will. Because we do have some D-Clan in the Marines even. We have Garp, we have Saul. Even Dragon is a former Marine, so is it possible that there's a will of D that exists within the Marine side, the world government side of things? At least we haven't seen any. Let's think. We haven't seen any D-Clan among the top tiers, the upper echelons of the world government. So far in the story, no D-Clan Celestial Dragons. Nefertari would have been the first. And if Vivi or Lily Nefertari had joined the Celestial Dragons, her descendants, there would have mixed in with the rest of the Celestial Dragons, and there would be D's among the Celestial Dragons. So, at least so far, it's possible that Nefertari wasn't the only D clan member. But then that goes back to the whole idea of the D clan's fate. They are the enemy of the gods. So no D clan would establish themselves as a god. Even though that kind of seems to be what Blackbeard is looking for. his ultimate goal is to attain a kind of power and status to be a god. Hmm. Then that brings up the question, is there a false D? Could there be false Ds? Then we would have to differentiate. Is there a difference between a false D and a negative D, a dark D? Or would that be the same thing? In my mind, a false D would be a D that's not really a D, someone that's faking, that claims the name, but they aren't actually from the clan. Somebody from the clan, that's a possibility, but that feels like a really outside possibility to me. That if the outside possibility was embraced, it would lead down a whole nother rabbit hole. So I think that that's probably not the case. I think a dark philosophy within the D clan, a dark D, is a possibility, but it's kind of on the outside, on the fringes. The reason I got to that whole false D thing is because Blackbeard's pursuit of power feels like it's not what a descendant of D clan would do. They're never in pursuit of power. They are the enemies of gods. Of course, there's a question of why they are the enemies of gods. Is it because they just want freedom, and having ruling powers like that is the antithesis of pure freedom? Or is it because they want to usurp gods, in which case Blackbeard would be in a very true to form pursuit of the will of D? There's a question there. Maybe the philosophy of Joy Boy and Luffy is actually the rarity, it's the oddity, the quirk in the D clan. And the D clan is actually devoted to taking down gods because they want to usurp them and be gods themselves. That's a nice little twist on it. I don't know if that's going to be the case, but that's another possibility to at least be considered. There is so much theorizing that can come out of this. But we're going to stop right here. With that, thanks so much for watching. Please like and comment and subscribe, and I will catch you all in the next video. Sayonara.